Hi, I'm Mordechai Becher. Welcome to the Gateway's Parsha vlog. This week's Parsha is Noach. Noach starts with a fascinating and strangely structured sentence. It says, "These are the children of Noach. Noach was a righteous man, perfect in his generations." Noach had 3 children, Shem, Ham, Yafet. So here, my English teacher in high school, Mr. Retchford, would have pointed out that God has written a sentence which is not very well structured. Because if you started off by saying, "These are the children of Noach," then you should continue and tell me who his children are. Instead, the verse interrupts the recitation of his children by telling me he was a righteous man, perfect in his generations. So this is a question that bothered Rashi, the great 12th century, 11th century biblical commentator. He's bothered by this, and he has a fascinating answer. He says this: the true offspring, the truest child of a righteous person, is not his or her children, but are his or her actions. The actions that a person does, they are your truest offspring. Hence, after the Torah says, these are the offspring, children of Noach, what's the first thing it says? Not who his physical children are, Shem, Ham and Yafet, they come secondary. The first thing it says is that Noach was a righteous and good person. So that's Rashi's explanation, very beautiful. The Maharal explains, why is it so? Why is it that your primary offspring are your actions, not your children? And his explanation is the following. He says, because with every child there are really 3 partners. There is the father and the mother. I should really put the mother first. There is the mother and the father, and there is God. So each one contributes something to the child. So really, no one can ever say that the child is completely mine. No mother, no father can ever say that. And the truth of the matter is, as Rabbi Moshe Feinstein pointed out, mathematically, if you go back another generation, so each of our parents also, God has a third ownership, so to speak, which means every child you have to look at in terms of ninths. If you go back to grandparents, so each parent has 2 ninths, and God has 5 ninths. Go back a little further, God's portion increases more and more and more. That's true of a child, a physical child. But when it comes to your actions, we have a principle, the Talmud says, which is that everything is in the hands of heaven except for the fear of heaven. Meaning, everything, yes, all external circumstances come from God, but your fear of heaven, meaning your free will, your moral, ethical, spiritual decision-making, that's something which comes completely from you and from your free will. Consequently, if I want to know what is really mine, then really my actions, my righteousness, my ethical decisions, my moral decisions, they're much more mine than my children. Because in those, it's my free will, which is exclusively mine. Whereas in the other cases, it's a partnership with the mother, with the father, with God, etc., etc. And consequently, our Parsha tells us this idea. And that reminds me of a line which I believe is in a song by Reba McEntire, the great country and western singer. I think it's she who says it. "You are your own child, don't forget to be good. It's never too late to have a good childhood." You are your own child. In other words, yes, you give birth to who you are, because who you are next week is determined by what you do this week. Who you are next year is determined by what you do this year. Who you are next decade is determined by what you are doing this decade. And consequently, you are your own child, in fact, much more of your own child than your actual children. So that's how the Torah tells us this, hints us this in a very beautiful and subtle way by saying, these are the children of Noach. And instead of saying Shem, Ham and Yafet, his actual physical children, it says, these are the children of Noach. Noach was a righteous person, perfect in his generations. Have a great Shabbos. This is Mordechai Becher with the Gateway's Parsha vlog, and hopefully we'll see you, actually more likely you'll see me next week.